Hey Jason, so trying to film on my phone next to a lake. I hope you can hear me. Okay, so you're throwing the way that Cole Radalin throws, which actually is not the best. Like, he's throwing very well, but his mechanics aren't perfect yet. So you're doing exactly the same thing. You're throwing away from the camera. You're, regardless of where this foot is, in the one throw you have it pretty far back. In the back angle, it's not as far back, like you can't see it very well, but it looks like the foot placement is okay. But what's happening is you're taking this hip, you're turning back too early, and you're, like, if I graph where this hip is pointing, you're turning the hip all the way behind you, which is not good for your knee. Like, it's not safe. Please stop doing it. And in addition to that, like, you're young and athletic and it's fine. It's not. But it's working for now, but long term not good for your knee. But you don't want this to point a different direction than your toe. So you want that. Like, if you tried to do a squat with like 300 pounds, your knee would explode, right? But here, with it in line with your toe, you can squat 350 and it's fine, right? So you're putting yourself in an unathletic position, which is a safety issue. And the other thing is, by turning back that far, then your rotation forward becomes sluggish. And so now turning to throw that way. So if you turn this assembly and this assembly too far back, then your rotation forward becomes too slow and you don't get any containment on the front side. So your axis of rotation ends up including your front leg. So you set down and immediately this whole assembly rotates forward together. So there's no containment. You're not actually getting anything out of your brace because you're over rotating, and then your rotation forward is like that, right? Everything's coming forward together. But if you look at someone like Drew Gibson or Tristan Tanner, they are getting containment in the front because they have containment in the back too. So they're not over rotating here. They're coiling into the hip, but leaving the hip facing this way. Then hip extension from your glute can send this hip forward. So you're not really sending this hip forward, you're just unwinding everything together. And you want a piston and a piston. And you have to set those up so that you're loading and then unloading this one. And this one has to do the opposite. So you need to get the heel down and then have this hip, have the knee extend by firing the quad and have the hip move backwards. So throwing towards the camera, you actually want to see this, the hips on a 45, not the hips on a 90, right? So here, not here. Right? This is too far because then you get too open. But if you keep the rear hip contained, then you can contain the front and get to this position. So there's your front foot is staying there and you're loading the heel while you unload the knee. That's an active brace. You're not doing that. You are setting down and immediately rotating because you're throwing off your back leg, right? You're throwing here and your front foot isn't doing anything. You're just spinning over the front foot. So you really want to stop the momentum here and then have the rock into the heel be what releases the toe. You're starting with the toe released and just landing and putting it. So that's what I see. Good luck.